So I just wanted to show you guys quick how to access Fred data in R without using the Fredder API. The example I'm going to do today is real per capita personal income by state. First, I will just do Texas. The trick to this is simply going over to the download tab here, which you can just download it as a CSV or Excel file by just clicking these links. But if you don't want to download it, you just want to read it in via URL, you can copy that link address to the CSV. You can head on over to Fred, load in tidyverse, read in Texas data. Go ahead and call this Texas. Read CSV and paste in that really long URL. We can take a peek and we can see the data loads right in. Now, I could end the video there, but I want to show you how to get all states data. You can see there are values for every single state here in 2017 dollars, so the price level at 2017, the average personal income for each state. And we could do all these individually, or I can show you a pretty quick way to get all this data into R easily. Save yourself some time, and it's a general way for you to go about pulling sets of data. First, we're just going to make all the URLs we're going to need. One thing to notice here is that we're going to have to pull based on the series ID. And the series ID, the first two letters of it are the state abbreviation. The rest is real per personal income per capita. So we can get URLs for every state by doing paste state abbreviation, which gives you all 50, and then real personal income per capita. And we get all of these. But that's not quite the URL yet. The component we're going to need here is this first bit, ID equals. So now we're going to get this, all the URLs we need to pull all that data. Oh, all the data. Call this all states. And we're going to write this function here, which will quickly pull all that. You could do a for loop, but this is faster. So this is going to tell me the stage, which I like to do when I'm doing a for loop, so I can at least see the progress. And we're going to read CSV, the URL, and I'm going to pivot it to be long form data. So I want that series ID to be its own column, and I'll have a value column. That way we can just stack them all. We can bind them together. So I'll do calls equals 2. Names are going to go to, we're going to call that series ID, and values 2, we're going to call that value. Okay, there we go. We got all 50 states there. Let's go ahead and check it. Awesome. Every state's data is in there. We can do a little bit of cleanup here. I'm just going to call this, clean. Why not? Mutate, I'm going to call state name as one thing here. I'll do a state abbreviation. Will be the first two values of series ID, as we mentioned earlier. And we're going to do state name, match, state abbreviation, state abbreviation. And we can look over here, and now we get the state name, abbreviation, value, and date. I will select date, series ID, just because I want these to be in order. value. There we go. So let's go ahead and just filter for us to examine which states are doing really well according to this metric. Top states in 2022, which is the latest data this is available for. So to clean, filter for date equals maximum date. And let's arrange by value descending. Wyoming has the highest per capita personal income once you adjust for inflation and for the local cost of living. So obviously some states have a higher cost of living than others. You can think of Hawaii. Obviously that's going to have a higher cost of living because you have to fly a lot of the products in versus a state that's in the middle of the country. So they get that benefit here. Whereas if you just looked at the nominal value, they might not look as good. But when you consider the cost of living that its residents actually pay, their real per capita personal income is actually quite high. Same with North Dakota, Connecticut, South Dakota, Massachusetts, Colorado, and so on. And which state is the lowest? Mississippi, Hawaii, which gets heavily dinged because of the cost of living, West Virginia, South Carolina, New Mexico, and so on. So this is just kind of a general procedure that folks can use to easily read in data from Fred without having to use the Fredder API. The Fredder API, which I'll just mention here, you could load this in and there's a whole bunch of documentation that you can read on it for how to access it. I think this is much easier. And you don't lose any time. I haven't noticed that it's substantially faster one way or another, but this is just simpler, that you can pull in your data and not have to worry about loading in another library or about making sure that that package works. You could just do it yourself.